Here is one of Dan's closest friends in the paddock, the public relations director for Panther Racing, Mike Kitchel.
On the rare times that I had to do public speaking during our time at Panther together, Dan would spend the entire day telling me how great a job I was going to do. And then right before I'd come on stage, he'd go, "Bro, two things. Don't screw up, and your fly's undone. Go." But I want to thank the family very much for giving me this opportunity to be up here. It's obviously an honor to be associated with Dan and his career, and obviously Susie and the boys, and to be able to see Dan grow the way he did was quite remarkable. And I brought up two of my closest friends, Benito Santos and Misty Gibbs. For the 2 years that Dan was at Panther, the three of us plus Dan and Susie are pretty much inseparable. And much like Adrian and Mickey explained, we had a little phone game of our own. Dan was notorious for stealing our phones. And when he would steal our phones, he would effectively text message everyone in our contact list. And it was everything we would agree to meetings. And in Benito's case, do you want to tell them what he would do when he stole your phone?
Just text random guys saying, "Hey, you look good today. Hey, you're cute. I want to see you."
It's true. But we would also conspire to steal one another's phones, and I think one of our fondest things to do when we were stealing phones was to steal Steve's phone and give guys the wrong idea. I think the first of such instances happened with Charles Burns, our beloved security chief at IndyCar, and I think Misty would like to tell you what Dan sent to Charles.
Yes, Dan decided to take my phone and text to Charles Burns, who I had hardly met, maybe met once, that sometimes I lie awake at night thinking of your big, strong hands. So, of course, since this was the first time this had happened to me, the text messaging and stealing phones, when I saw Charles the next day and he said, "Hey." That really kicked it off. And I actually have my phone in my pocket right now because I still never go anywhere without it.
But our favorite instance of the phone stealing game, as we called it, came. We were at dinner one night, and my wife Carmen joined us, and I went off to the bathroom, and Dan somehow got my phone. I have no idea how. And Dan sent Carmen a message while I was in the bathroom, and it was something along the lines of, "Baby, you look so hot tonight, I'd like to blank, 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 blank." And he waited for a minute, and she didn't get the text, so he thought he'd send her another one. "Hey, sweetie, you look so great tonight. Why don't we go to specific place?" And blank, 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 blank. Well, I'd finally come back to the dinner table, and Carmen hadn't seen the messages yet, and Dan couldn't handle it. He was like, "Carmen, did you get the messages?" And while my wife, Carmen, was looking to find where these mystery text messages have gone, I got a pretty awkward phone call from my brother-in-law, Cameron. And Cameron wasn't buying the whole "my race car driver friend Dan sent you those messages." I actually hope he's watching this so he'll believe that it was Dan that sent those text messages. But turning a little bit serious, guys, and in closing, we talk a lot about what our sport needs to grow and what changes we need to make to the Indianapolis 500 down the street to continue to make it the greatest sporting event in the world. And, I don't know if our cars need to look like Delaras or Delta Wings. And I don't know, I'm certainly not smart enough to tell you guys where we need to race, but I know the one thing we control is ourselves and the type of people that we are. And if we could somehow capture 1/10 of the millions and millions of things that made Dan Wheldon great, being courteous, compassionate, never too busy to stop and speak with a fan, and able to recognize that every once in a while you have a small window to make a positive difference in somebody's life, or just to make somebody feel special. I'd all do that we could take the sport wherever we wanted. But there's one catch with that. No matter how much we want to be like Dan, no matter how much he inspires us, and no matter how many drivers come along and try to emulate him, there's only one Dan Wheldon. And we love you, bro.